You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
So excited you could join me today for our first of two Cabral HouseCalls this weekend. So every weekend we get together, we answer our community's questions that have come in over the past couple of months, and today's are actually from the beginning of May. And yes, it is the beginning of August. So I know we're getting through all of May, all of June, all of July. We're clearly 12 weeks behind. I want to just make you aware of that simply because I'm letting people know that I'm only one person and I do answer the questions as they come in each and every weekend, but you can now get your questions answered pretty much the same day, Monday through Friday at cabralsupportgroup.com. That fancy URL, cabralsupportgroup.com, just type it into your phone or type it into your computer. It will send you right over to our Facebook group page. It's completely free to join, and I chime in a couple times a week. I'm answering questions in there as well. But remember, I have an amazing team of health coaches, and that includes Michelle and Laura and Caitlin and Julia. And they're in there, and they're answering your questions. And if it's not the same answer that I would give, or they don't know the answer to your question, they send me a screenshot of your question. That question then gets answered by me personally, and they respond within the group. So you are always getting my feedback. You're always getting my answers, and I just want you to know that you can get those answers answered right there. Now, I'm still happy to answer your question personally. I really am, and I would be happy to do that. It just will most likely take about 12 weeks on the weekend house calls. I'd love to find a way to turn myself into some type of artificial intelligence type robot and be able to answer questions all throughout the week. But, as of right now, there simply is not that amount of time. So we do 2 weekend shows. We do about an hour a week answering all of our community's questions on the podcast. And then every single day, amazing health coaching team they'll answer your questions right over Cabral Support Group. So that is that. Just wanted to make you aware. I won't repeat it on tomorrow's show. I'll just let you know the dates, of course, from when the questions are coming in, so that if you say, hey, my question hasn't been answered yet, it's simply because we're a little bit behind. But that's a good thing. That means we have a lot of people writing in and a lot of people that we're going to hopefully be able to help get them on the right track. So without further ado, let's get into these questions. Let's answer a bunch today. All right. So Sean's writing in, hello, Dr. Cabral. I've been listening to your podcast for the last few months, and I'm really loving them. I have a question for a friend of mine that's dealing with an issue. For the past 5 years, she's been experiencing a sharp pain in her right side, just below the ribs. And she's gone to do a general practitioner several times to help. They've done ultrasounds and x-rays and haven't found anything that could be causing the pain. I thought I'd reach out on her behalf to help if you can figure it out, and hopefully she can overcome it. Thanks, Sean. All right, Sean, to me, this is pretty straightforward. If it's right underneath the rib cage on the right side, the main organ right there is your liver and your gallbladder. Both of those are needed to detoxify the body. They're needed to clean the blood, and they're needed to help with fat digestion. A lot of people right now, they're on high-fat diets. I worry about their health. I really do. I don't care about who's right and who's wrong with whatever diet plan, but I can tell you this. If you're on a very high-fat diet, I've seen so many people in my practice now that it's not working out for, and they've got yellow in the eyes, they've got yellow palms, they've got gallbladder and liver-based pain, and that's because you need to produce all that bile to emulsify all that fat. So let's just make sure she's not on a keto-based diet. Let's also make sure that she might want to look into the episode I did called the Amazing Liver Cleanse. Go to stephencabral.com/podcasts. Type in liver cleanse, not liver detox, not our functional medicine detox. Of course, the Dr. Cabral detox would be great, but what we want to do is open up those bile ducts, and by opening up the bile ducts, you can do that with an ancient Ayurvedic-based liver detox and cleanse that many people have taken credit for over the years. But truly, it is an Ayurvedic-based methodology. And again, you can find that episode by going to stephencabral.com/podcast and typing in liver cleanse or gallbladder cleanse. We'll also try to link that up in the show notes today. So you can just head on over to stephencabral.com/ I believe today's episode is 9/11, but I'll get those details before the end of the show. All right, Sean, just one more thing that I wanted to add before we move on to the next question. It is possible that, and again, it might just be radiating pain. So again, the possibilities are endless. There's a lot of different things that could be going on for sure. But the ascending colon, okay, so that actually starts to move uphill as well on the right side. So if there's any constipation, we would recommend the intestinal cleanse. Really, really great product as well to get those bowels moving. And then, of course, you can look into a different type of diet that would include more fiber and all the different things that I've talked about constipation before. Again, check out stephencabral.com/podcast, and you can type in constipation. And if she's dealing with that, just because I don't have all the information in front of me, but I'm giving you two good options right there to look at. All right. Who's up next? Jennifer's up next. She has two questions. Is the daily nutritional support powder or Dr. Cabral Daily Protocol appropriate for a nursing mother to take, even though the greens powder has spirulina? All right, let's see what else is going on. I suspect that my mother-in-law has candida overgrowth and she's interested in testing with Dr. Cabral. Is it better to set up a consultation and go through the 3-month program with Dr. Cabral or one of his health coaches, or is it better to do a lab? I know that she will benefit from having a tailored program with one-on-one support, and I think applying for the consult package is better. All right, Jennifer, I think you answered your own question. So, that's literally it. We tried to provide every level of service possible. Now, of course, it's a little bit more expensive when you want the highest level of service, which is having someone customize your entire protocol, having them talk with you every single month. But again, that's the highest level of service possible, and it's amazing, right? And so, we've been doing that for many, many years, 250,000 plus appointments, and I've got a great team. I really do. You don't need to work with me. You can work with Laura and Julia and Caitlin and other health coaches that we may add in the future as well, because I know that every one of my team's getting quite busy, which is great because they're able to serve more and more people. So what would I do? Well, for those, though, who want this is how it works. So your mother-in-law believes she has candida overgrowth. So you'll run an organic acids test, and you might decide to run the stool test and the food sensitivity test along with it if you want. Now, if you run more than one lab, you get a 60-minute consultation instead of the 30-minute. But either way, what I do is I actually look at all those labs. So people might not work with me directly, and they might not even sign up for our private practice. You can order any lab at equilibriumnutrition.com, with the exception of a vitamin D lab, because that's a very simple one. We just give you what to do when you test your vitamin D. But every other lab, I read, and even the vitamin D, I read every lab ordered from Equilibrium Nutrition, every single one. And then I give my recommendation, or when the health coach presents me with what they believe, I make my recommendations on top of it, or I say that's exactly correct. That's what we do. We write up the plan, and then you actually get on the phone and you speak with one of the health coaches. So you still do get individual guidance. You still get personalized guidance with every lab offered at equilibriumnutrition.com. So feel free, but again, what's the difference with a private practice? Well, the private practice, the first consultation for 1 hour is to take your whole health history. So it's to actually get deep in your health history. By the end of that call, we will recommend functional medicine labs, and you can choose to do them or not, or you might already have some. Then our second consultation will be to review your labs and give you your personalized wellness plan. That's much more in depth. And then the third call would be a half-hour call after that, the third month or 4 weeks after you start your program. And that would be to fine-tune your program, your protocol, teach you how to move through it, begin to introduce new foods. So I consider it the best of the best. And I say that without ego or anything like that, because honestly, we're just doing what we feel gets people the greatest amount of results. That's how we've set it up. I mean, it really is. If we feel that there's another way to do it, but even better way to do it in the future, we'll do that too. So we don't hold back. All right. Now, is the Dr. Cabral Daily Protocol okay for nursing mothers to take? Yes, and here's why. It wasn't in the beginning. About 2 years ago, the Daily Nutritional Support Powder had more detox-based herbs in it. We removed those so that nursing moms and pregnant women are able to use the Daily Nutritional Support Powder, the greens, and the daily probiotic support. Okay, so that's called the Dr. Cabral Daily Protocol. Why is it called that? Well, it's what I do every day, and a lot of my private wellness clients, as they wean off of all their other nutritional supplements, they maintain for less than $5 a day to get all of their vitamins, all their minerals, their whole food with 22 organic fruits and vegetables through the daily fruit and vegetable blend and 50 billion live dairy-free probiotics. Very few people offer a dairy-free probiotic. We're one of the only people to do that. So, great protocol, and if you're worried about the spirulina, totally understand. Meaning, like, a lot of women don't feel like they should do certain things during pregnancy, and I totally support that, or nursing as well. Totally support that. I just would give you what I've seen the research on and what I would recommend and have recommended, obviously, for my own wife when we had our 2 girls. Spirulina, Craxel chlorella, those are naturally detoxifying, but keep in mind, they're at a low level. We're not doing the heavy metal. We have a great heavy metal detox protocol that has high levels of Craxel chlorella, right? So you wouldn't be doing that for sure while you're nursing or pregnant. But a lower amount, remember, is 22 organic fruits and vegetables. Spirulina is one of those. Craxel chlorella is another, but at a much smaller level. So keep in mind, these are for daily use. This is not talking about a heavy metal detox. I know I went long on that question, but I always want to make sure I give the right answer no matter how long that takes. All right, Kim's up next. She's writing in, "Hi, Dr. Cabral. Thanks for the show. Love your podcast. 2 questions. Which non-hormonal contraceptives can you recommend except condoms? What do you think about the copper spiral? Is stevia okay? Thanks, and all the best from Germany." All right, check out all my previous house calls on contraception. So you can literally type in at stephencabral.com/podcast, type in birth control, type in contraceptive, and type in IUD. I was taking a moment there. A lot of women do fine, by the way, with a copper IUD, but many do not. And that's because their body mounts an immune-based defense against the copper, and some women seem to absorb that copper at a much higher level. Some women get bloating and all sorts of issues from it. So how do you know? Well, you sometimes you don't until you actually have the copper IUD inserted. So obviously condoms are the most natural, the closest thing, whether you're using latex or lambskin or something like that. But if you are doing a form of birth control or an IUD, whatever it might be, and it's non-hormonal, the copper is a possibility. I just want you to do your research and just type in side effects of copper spiral or copper IUD. There are side effects. Just make yourself aware of them. If you still go through with it, if you begin to feel those side effects, you'll, of course, want it removed. Is stevia okay? Yes, stevia, I've done a ton of research on this. Again, go to stephencabral.com/podcast and type in artificial sweetener. You'll see all the negative things around aspartame and all the ones that I talk about, right? Splenda, sucralose. Now, if you look at stevia, stevia is from a plant. It's not made in a lab. And stevia actually has a lot of benefits, meaning that a lot of people talk about it in terms of glycemic control. It doesn't artificially spike blood sugar. It's also an antimicrobial. It's been shown to work and kill Lyme-based spirochetes and Lyme-based bacteria. So, totally fine with it. Just make sure, too, that you're getting a natural source. That's really, really important, of course, with anything, right? Broccoli is great, but if you douse it in pesticides, not so great. Hopefully that answered your question. Happy to always do a follow-up at cabralsupportgroup.com as well. I wouldn't want you to wait, for a follow-up. All right, Lorenzo's up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. I'm 32. I've gone through many fitness transitions over the last 15 years, from a distance runner to powerlifting to couch potato and then CrossFit. I like that, Lorenzo. That's a great timeline right there. I've been listening to you for over a year and have moved to your recommendations of a full body routine 2 to 3 times a week and have been feeling better than ever. I would like to start incorporating some more explosive lifts just because I enjoy them. How would you include kettlebell and barbell, clean and jerks, and snatches in your full body routine? Yeah, great question. I love when people throw in some fitness questions here. Huge fan. Every single one, and I know I don't do it a lot. It's just Tuesday mornings, but I love it so much. I really do. People tell me you shouldn't be doing this, for 5 hours until 11:45 a.m. every Tuesday mornings. My only day left, but I have functional medicine practice that I'm at every single day. But for a half a day a week, I'm at my fitness studio. So, because I actually have 2 locations in Boston. The fitness studio is Stephen Cabral Studio. If you're in the Boston area, we would love to meet you. Love to have you come down. It's one-on-one only, so just go to stephencabralstudio.com. This is not functional medicine. It's not for popping in. There's no reception. It's just a small studio, and we train 4 clients, all one-on-one, but we have 8 personal trainers there, and 4 work in the morning, 4 work in the evening, and we work with many hundreds of clients there. It's fantastic. Anyway, what we do, I'll tell you, all the time I have my clients doing cleans to presses, cleans. Sometimes we'll do a clean and jerk. Not always, because we're looking at the stability, the client's shoulder mobility. We're looking at a lot of those things. But I do kettlebell snatches with my clients all the time, because unlike a barbell, kettlebell snatches will actually help open up the mobility in the shoulder, and it works on that stabilization of internal and external rotation. Not everybody will know what that means, but I know that Lorenzo will. So, huge fan. I do barbell cleans myself. I think it's a tremendous exercise. It's an explosive exercise. You can do a hang clean with a barbell, or you can do a clean from the floor. And then, of course, you can go right into a push press or clean and jerk. All of them are great. So how would you include them? Well, you'd have one explosive day. So if you're doing 2 to 3 days a week, you'd have one day that's explosive. I've talked about this before, but you can have an explosive power-based day. All right. And remember, and again, I've talked about this in a podcast. I wish I could tell you exactly which one it was, but I'm going to give you the quick rundown. Okay. When you're designing a program, you work most neurologically challenging first. So you're going to work on all your Olympic lifts, your plyometrics, anything where you need explosion, stability, greater risk for injury. That's the beginning of your workout when you're fresh, right? You've already done your dynamic warm-up, general warm-up, mobility work, whatever it might be. So that's the beginning of your workout. Plyo push-ups, plyo box push-ups, plyo jumps, Olympic-based lifts, beginning of the workout. Then after that, you can work on your strength or other things towards the end. And just remember, when you're doing cleans, that's more of a full-body exercise, but I would consider it a little bit more hip-dominant. You're getting your hamstrings, your glutes in there as well. So great exercises, and just put them in the beginning of the workout 1 day a week. You'll be good to go. Again, it depends on volume. I could come up with a million different scenarios of you being able to do them twice a week, but it seems like you just enjoy them. Do them once a week. Add them in once a week. I do the same. I just think they're a great exercise, and then also I believe that there'll be less chance of injury actually using kettlebells instead of holding a fixed barbell. But have some fun. Enjoy it. It's meant to be fun. All right, Chris is up next. Hey, Dr. Cabral, my question is about adaptogens. About a week ago, started taking an HP Adapt, 2 with breakfast, 2 at dinner, to help with my healing from adrenal fatigue and balance cortisol levels. A week before that, I was finally able to get really good sleep consistently, finally able to sleep the entire night without getting woken. Figured adding HP Adapt to my regimen would give me the last kick needed to calm my body. At first, I felt really calmed down, almost too calm, but it felt better than being too high energy. Cut to a week later, and now my body, although it doesn't feel anxious, it feels a lot of energy where I can't fall asleep at night. No matter how much melatonin I take, my body literally won't shut down. I'm curious as to why. I know that adaptogens are supposed to adapt to stress, but going from calm to too wired seems weird. I also mentioned that I'm 26-year-old Pitta, trying to take your activated B complex prior, but that makes me very jittery. All right, here's what we need to do, Chris. It's all about the diurnal rhythm. You can take your adrenal adaptogens the first part of the day, but you wouldn't take them at night. What you take at night is a product called Adrenal Soothe. It's one of the most phenomenal products out there. It's a very expensive product for us to make. Why? So much clinical research behind it. We only put in the clinical dosage. It's the big difference with Equilibrium Nutrition is that we don't say, a lot of marketing companies that sell nutritional supplements, they say, I need to get this product below $19.95 or whatever it is. And so they can't put in the clinical dosage because it would cost them maybe $19.95 to make. So they wouldn't be able to sell it for under $20 on Amazon, right? But when you're a functional medicine company, what you care about first are the people that you serve. That's the bottom line. And you want to get them the best results possible. And you also know that they're probably not going to take 15 supplements for the rest of their life, right? They're going to take a handful of supplements for 4 months or so, 3-4 months, and they begin to wean off as they start to feel better, and then they'll maintain with a much smaller amount. So here's what we're looking at. You are taking a product that gives you a little bit more of a boost. So what I would do is I would use, so an even better product than that is called Adrenal Energy Support. Okay. You're taking two Adrenal Energy Support with breakfast and 2 at lunch, right? But you might not need 2 for energy. You might only need 1 at breakfast and 1 at lunch, or you might do well with 2 at breakfast and 1 at lunch. How much do you need? How much does your body say that you need? Like, that's a big part of it. Now, you could run your adrenal hormone test to actually give you clinical data on how much you need. Of course, you could do that if you chose to do that, and that would be, getting more scientific into it. But then at night, you would actually use a product called Adrenal Soothe. What that does is it shuts down those cortisol levels. It allows your body to then start to produce the inverse of that, which is melatonin, and it gets you into a much deeper restorative sleep. So it actually helps to heal the adrenals for the next 12 hours. Take it at 6 p.m., and then it allows you to get into that lower mode, right, until 6 a.m., and then you can pop back into your adrenal energy support if you want. So you can use it like that, meaning like you can really use these in the diurnal rhythm of the body. And I spoke about this, actually, I did an interview with the Weekly Juicery, and I was talking about this, the diurnal rhythm of the body. One other thing, Chris, that I think you need probably as a pitta and someone that's a little bit too wired and amped up, like myself, is a little bit of CalMag Complete with dinner, or just the full spectrum magnesium, or even our deep sleep protocol, which is the natural calm, magnesium citrate, the melatonin, and that deep sleep support. All of that's great, but Chris, it just looks like that you're getting the results you want, but the timing is incorrect because you don't want to be taking the adrenal products before bed unless it's Adrenal Soothe, which contains ashwagandha, phosphoserine, and a bunch of other herbal adaptogens proven through medical science to help calm cortisol levels. Great for the brain, great for the body, great for the nervous system, and your adrenals love it. So check that out, Adrenal Soothe at equilibriumnutrition.com. All right, let's move on to Valerie. Valerie is asking, hello, Dr. Cabral. Really enjoy your podcast, and I look forward to them every day. I switched to a whole food plant-based diet in early March, and I feel amazing. I've read that a woman should be getting 48 grams of protein per day. I try to have a half cup of legumes 3 times a day. Want to add more throughout the day. My job doesn't allow me to sit down and have a meal or so I bring food in a small mason jar. I usually try and have a main dish in a hot flask and 2 kinds of vegetables in mason jars as well as fruit. I saw a holistic nutritionist, and she said a whole food, plant-based diet is incomplete in protein. Can I have as much as I want? Today I listened to a YouTube video by Dr. McDougall, and he said no more than 1 cup serving a day, as too much protein leads to calcium loss, even if you're on a whole food plant-based diet. Dr. McGregor only says 3 servings a day. He states that the incomplete protein statement is invalid, as there have been no concrete studies to provide this. I'm finding conflicting information. What are your views on this? How much protein should be getting per day when on a whole food plant-based diet? All right. So I love both of those doctors. I think they're fantastic. They're doing great work. However, the problem is this. Love all of every community in terms of what they're trying to promote in terms of health. You have to understand. You have to understand this. And I hope that you've been tuning in the last couple of weeks for our Ayurvedic body types. You cannot say that 48 grams of protein or 1 cup is the appropriate amount for everyone, right? It's an insane statement. Think about this. Okay, I have one woman in my practice. She's 180 pounds, and she's in amazing shape at 180 pounds. And I have another woman. She's 110 pounds, and she's in amazing shape at 110 pounds. She's the Vata body type, about 5'3" or so. The other woman who's 180 pounds, she's about 5'7", but she's an endomorphic body type. She has a larger frame, right? And she is fit, and she looks great, okay? Here's the deal. You think both of those people need 48 grams of protein? It's like saying everybody in the world needs 8 glasses of water and they need 15 minutes of sun. Okay, you're telling me someone with African descent needs 15 minutes of sun and someone from Norway needs 15 minutes of sun? Really? Both of those people need 15 minutes of sun, right? And one person, they weigh 250 pounds. They need 8 glasses of water, right? And then the woman ate 110 pounds. She needs 8 glasses of water. Something seems off, right? So we have to respect our individual bodies, and we also have to respect our body types. The Vata and Pitta need a little bit more protein. The Vata does not do as well with the legumes because it causes more wind or gas in that body. You have to understand they also need easily digestible proteins, and they can still be vegan if they want to. It's just not as easy for them, right? But the endomorph body type, the kapha body type, as a vegan, they can thrive with that diet. They really can. So you have to understand who we're talking about, and we can make it work for everyone. We really can. Don't believe anybody that says a plant-based diet is incomplete. It's not incomplete in protein. There is no protein on a plant-based diet that's necessarily a complete protein, although there's arguments with hemp protein and a few others. But the truth is this, is that we've already seen in clinical research that you don't need all of the amino acids at one meal. You can actually get them through the day. So if you're having some, let's just say quinoa, or you're having some rice, or let's just say you're doing sweet potatoes and beans, and you're going to get all of the amino acids that you need for the day. Now, 48 grams, though, isn't too far off from what most people need, which is take your body weight, and you want to basically take, there's a lot more. I've given this before. I don't want to spend too much time on it now. But basically, you take your body weight, you take your weight in kilograms, right? So take your weight in kilograms and then multiply by 0.8. That's what most people need. And this has been now around for decades. It hasn't gone away. It's proven to be pretty strong, all right? There is protein deficiency, though. I see that all the time in my practice. If you exercise and if you're a little bit more catabolic, which means your muscles are starting to look thinner than your joints, because now you can go by your own body frame, you might be lacking in protein. If you're hungry within an hour after a meal, you might be lacking in protein. If you get really massive amounts of blood sugar dysregulation, you might be lacking in protein. Now, there's fiber, there's other things. I totally understand that. There's also adrenal-based issues. And so, again, there's a lot more that plays into this, but we're trying to give you your answer. A simpler way to figure out the kilograms times 0.8 is simply take your body weight and cut it in half. That's it. That's a good starting place for most people for the minimum protein that you could get per day. So if you weigh 160 pounds, 80 grams of protein per day. That's a lot. That's plenty. I just think somewhere around, again, for most people, 50 grams, 60 grams, 70 grams per day, plenty of protein. Now think about it though. It's very easy to get. And again, I've actually did a podcast, Vegan Done Right. That's the name of the podcast, Vegan Done Right, on Melissa Ambrosini's podcast. So check that out, Melissa Ambrosini Show, Amazing Human Being. And I did a Q&A. Basically, I think it was a 2-hour show on how to be healthy as a vegan. And because I'm in it to help everybody, and if they want to be vegan, especially for spiritual-based reasons, I want to support that. And I gave the vitamins that you need to take, that you can get through whole food. You don't even need to take supplements if you don't want. So I went through all of that. You can check out that show. But the truth is, it's super easy to do. 15 grams at a meal of protein 3 times a day. Very, very easy, right? The daily nutritional support powder that we offer, 15 grams of protein right there. And that doesn't even include the berries and other stuff that you'll add into it. That still have a couple grams of protein, right? So, that's a vegan-based product. Easy. At lunch, half a cup of legumes, 3/4 a cup. Mix your starches, your sweet potato in there. You're going to get another couple grams. It's so easy to get 15 grams 3 times a day. So don't listen to all of the people unless you are actually functioning from some dis-ease of the body. Meaning, if you're out of balance, then the people you're talking to might be right. You might actually be suffering from a protein deficiency. It is possible. It is possible. So what I'm trying to do is just shed some light on it, though, and allow you to understand is that you can be healthy depending on your body type and where you're at in life, following a whole food plant-based diet. I'm a predominantly whole food plant-based diet person. I'm not completely vegan, but I trend in that direction, right? You're either vegan or you're not, because it's a lifestyle. So we'll just say vegetarian, right? So I'm about basically 90%. I'm vegan all day, and then at dinner, I oftentimes will have some fish. I have eggs once a week, and I might have a little bit of poultry or turkey or something like that, or duck once a week, twice a week or so at the most. So I'm conscious. I'm a conscious eater. I never eat more than I feel like my body needs. I've gone vegan 3 times. They've been for many, many months, and I feel great in the beginning, and then I start to deteriorate. I look really, really thin. I look very, very emaciated. I cannot keep mass on my body. So my body type is very unique, though, and again, I don't want to make this about me, but I'm just giving you personal. So I want everyone to feel supported, right? A lot of people won't agree with what I'm doing because they're wholeheartedly vegan, and I understand that, and I respect that. I respect your opinion, but what I'm trying to say is, as a clinician, I'm a clinical practitioner that has seen my practice has seen 250,000 people. We have so much data. There are people that thrive. Again, that Kapha body types thrives with a vegan-based diet. They really can, but not everyone does. And so for me, again, I have a very unique and interesting body type. If I eat properly and I exercise just properly, my body stays very balanced, but it's a sensitive body type. I can swing during the winter, and especially on a vegan-based diet, to becoming very thin and very sick and very weak and very tired. And then during the summer months, I put on a lot of weight. I mean, I can put on a lot of body fat, but I can also put on a lot of muscle, and because I have a lot of the Kapha in me as well. My parents, again, are Kapha Pitta as my mom and Vata Kapha for my dad. And so I have a very unique mixture in the body type. And again, that's why I just know from experience, and also people in my practice, that we have to be respectful of everyone's body type and do what's right for you. That's the bottom line. All right, I want to answer one more question. I really do, because I know that I'm behind, and so I want to answer this one as well. So Mia's writing in, I have intermittent knee pain, but my DO cannot find anything structurally wrong with my knees. This is making me think it might be an inflammation issue. After 1.5 years of this, I've cut out dairy and gluten and sugar and soy and corn, but I'm wondering if there's additional recommendations. I'm 30, female, no history of injuries, and my workout routine has not changed. I eat mostly whole foods aside from milk and coffee. Could coffee also be a part of this? Also still battling acne since my teens. Your podcast is wonderful. Thank you so much for all you do. Mia, let me give you a biomechanical reason. You said you haven't changed your workout. It's possible that you've created imbalances through a workout that hasn't changed. Now, again, don't be offended. What I'm saying is a lot, because we see this in my practice all the time. Again, we do a lot of personal training at my fitness studio. So here's the deal, though. It's called sometimes patellofemoral pain. And that is basically when the femur bone starts to invert, so it starts to rotate in, where the calves, they get tight and the ankles start to rotate out. This causes patellofemoral pain. It causes pain typically in the knee and also on the inside of the knee, right? So we actually work on this all the time. It's because people's glutes after a while get tight and they get weak. I recommend foam rolling the glutes, foam rolling the IT band, opening up the hip flexors, but I recommend, and I have videos on this from old school, from a decade ago when I used to be the body transformation guy for diet.com. You put this thing called a VersaLoop. You put the VersaLoop over the knees, and you do something called monster walks. You do just inversion and eversion of that VersaLoop. Here's what I want you to do, because you're not going to have any idea what I'm talking about. Type in VersaLoop glute exercises. Versa, VERSA, loop, LOOP. Glute exercises. So start to do more hamstring work and glute work, Romanian deadlifts, maybe some backwards lunges, not forward lunges, and just for now, and then do the VersaLoop work. Do that every other day. So 3 times a week, every other day. Not a lot. You don't need to burn yourself out. I'll tell you right now, we see some pretty amazing things. The foam rolling, working on those glutes, especially what's called the glute medius, the top of the glutes. We strengthen that, we rebalance the body, we work on being able to keep the knees open, and that gets rid of all that knee pain. Again, there's so many things that it could be, right? It could be meniscus, it could be inflammation, it could be so many different things, but we've gotten great results with the information that I just gave you. I hope that this was helpful. Thank you so much, as always, for tuning into our weekend Cabral House Calls. Feel free to share any of these episodes that you feel would help any friends, family, coworkers, loved ones, you name it. Feel free to share it with them, and be sure to come back tomorrow for another house call, part 2, where we'll be answering more of our community's questions. Take care, everyone. I hope you have an amazing weekend. Before you go, I wanted to share a personal story with you. The real reason I began to get well finally is because I figured out what was wrong with me. And that might seem pretty obvious, but I went from doctor to doctor for over 2 years before discovering at-home functional medicine lab testing. These are the labs that enabled me to finally figure out what was wrong with my hormones, blood sugar, electrolytes, and gut health. And once I knew what was wrong, I could then follow a proven plan in order to rebalance my body from the inside out. This is why I believe so strongly in functional medicine lab testing, and why I've made it my mission to share these labs with the world. Now at equa.life, you can order an at-home lab test or lab bundle for you and your family and be able to complete it within the week. Plus, the EquaLife difference is that you're not left to try to read and figure out these labs on your own. We explain what your lab numbers mean, what they mean in the much bigger picture, and then how to go about rebalancing your body in order to heal. To see our full selection of lab tests, or to set up a free lab selection call to find out what labs may be best for you, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. And do remember, we ship these all over the world. To find out more and to set up your free lab selection call, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. That's EQUI.LIFE/labs.